The United States is conducting airstrikes. How have U.S. airstrikes affected the flow of foreign fighters into Syria, if it has? Ambassador?
It's perhaps a question that might be better addressed to some of our colleagues in the intelligence community, but my sense from looking at the numbers is that it's hard to say at this point that what the impact is. It is relatively soon after these strikes have taken place. The numbers that we monitor, the numbers that we track, are estimates at best. And so, again, I think it's probably early to determine precisely what the impact is. It's obviously something, again, that our intelligence community is looking at. And it's possible that in a classified briefing, they might be able to give you their assessment. But again, from my perspective, the numbers, again, can vary for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's because we get better information from our partners, and that results in an increase in the estimate.
So we don't know if it's effective or not?
I would say that if the issue is this effective in reducing the flow of foreign fighters, I would say at this point I would want to see more evidence before I would come to a conclusion.
Mr. Warwick, do you have a different answer? Or?
Well, no. Again, there is an answer to that question, but I think it really does need to be delivered in a classified setting.
Turkey seems appears to me to be a complicit to some extent of allowing foreign fighters to flow through Turkey into Syria. Would you weigh in on your opinion of what the government of Turkey, their position is on foreign fighters going through Turkey into Syria? Ambassador, you be first.
Mr. Chairman, Turkey is a very important partner of ours in the region. We share very important common interests with them. We have a shared interest in seeing a political settlement in Syria that removes Assad. We have a shared interest in combating the terrorist organizations that are operating in Syria and Iraq. We have a shared interest in dealing with the humanitarian crisis, and also a shared interest in promoting stability in Iraq.
I understand that, Ambassador, but that's not my question. My question is the government of Syria, or excuse me, Turkey, complicit in allowing foreign fighters to go through their country and fight for ISIL?
I was trying to explain some of the perspective on this problem, sir. The Turks have more than 1 million refugees from Syria inside Turkey. Turks have a 900-kilometer border with...
I've been to one of those Syrian camps.
There are 37 million tourist arrivals in Turkey every year, 37 million. We believe that Turkey, and we have had an extensive dialogue with them on this issue for some time, is taking steps to try to deal with the flow of foreign fighters. The Turks have added a considerable number of names to their denied entry list. The Turks are working with us to try to cut off the flow of funding that might come from oil sales to the foreign terrorist organizations.
Isn't Turkey buying oil from ISIL that eventually comes to Turkey from ISIL?
There is considerable traffic that we have discussed with the Turks across the border. And again, the latest information is the Turks are taking steps to try to deal with it.
Are they buying oil from ISIS?
If you're saying, are the Turkish government buying oil from ISIS? No. If you're saying, are there smuggling taking place across the border? The answer is yes. And that is the issue we're trying to deal with, is to cut off working with the Turks. The other thing I would mention is the sharing of information with Turkey. I think we're seeing much better information sharing with Turkey, with the United States, but also with our European partners.
So they're not complicit. That's really my question. Are they not complicit?
My answer is they're not complicit.
Social media. We know it's obvious recruitment is being done in a very effective manner, it appears, through social media. There is the argument by some in our law enforcement agencies not to shut down social media because that's how they track and keep up with the terrorist organizations and individuals. What is your opinion on that? Doing more or less, or leaving it alone, the issue of all of social media, how it's effective in tracking and the recruiting of terrorists to join ISIL? Should we be proactive to try to shut that network down legally, of course, or should we just do as law enforcement says, we want to watch this to see where these guys are going? What's your opinion on that, Ambassador? And then get Mr. Warwick, and then that'll be it.
The issue of freedom of the Internet, freedom of expression on the Internet is one that goes well beyond my responsibilities. We clearly watch very closely the use of the Internet by these organizations. We have a dialogue with the service providers in cases where the posts that are being used, the use of social media accounts is, perhaps in our view, contrary to the terms of service. So again, this is a complex question. It's a complicated question. It goes well beyond my responsibilities. Certainly, any use of the Internet for illegal activities, such as fundraising or incitement to violence, is something we would take strong legal action against. But there are gray areas here of the use of Internet and social media, and the question is how one responds to that. I think we also believe that if you shut down one site, you shut down one account, the chances of that popping back up somewhere else are quite high and quite great. So the other tool we use is counter-messaging ourselves. Through the Center for Strategic Counterterrorism Communications that was mentioned earlier, we try to put out counter-messaging on social media, on the Internet, to push back in that way, rather than simply try to take down the message that they're putting out.
Mr. Warwick, I'll have to let you put that in writing. Since we're out of time, I'm going to have to recognize the ranking member, Mr. Sherman, for his 5 minutes.